right, welcome to the Fantasy Football Last Call podcast. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, partner in crime on Sunday night, Dave Eddy. What is up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Joseph? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing pretty good, pretty good.
Are you sober tonight?
Yeah, it was a rough start to the Sunday afternoon, but I'm doing all right. I am drinking a beer, but I'm
Good.
Yeah,
You were freaking out
I
early
was
today.
pretty pissed early on. But yeah, it happens. Anyway, man, something is going on with my Hangouts and you, and I'll figure it out. All right, let's see if I can figure this out. I guess I got to keep you up on the screen here and try to read these notes as best I can. All right, let's get into the Sunday games here. We'll start off with the Texans and the Titans. The Titans went into overtime, took it down 42-36. A lot of scoring in this game, kind of what we expected. Watson went off. Basically everybody, man. And the big story of the day from this game, obviously, is Derrick Henry and his 212 yards rushing. Actually had a long reception in overtime, nonetheless, which pissed me off. I was like, if it isn't already bad enough, I didn't start with DFS. He had to do that. But yeah, I mean, the question I've got for you from this game is, is Tannehill now going to be like a QB1 in your mind going forward the rest of the season now that A.J. Brown's healthy?
Yeah, I kind of think he already was. I think he's been underrated for a calendar year now. So, I mean, week in, week out, he's a good DFS target for me for a quarterback. Especially this week, he was tremendously undervalued. So I would argue that he already has been a QB1.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who probably didn't fully see it that way. I know he was ranked pretty low at first in this for this week. I think it changed as the as the week went on, but it wasn't like that initially. So that shocked me. I actually was able to pick him as my sleeper of the week for quarterback as on Fantasy Six Pack. He was ranked so low. He was outside the top 15. I was like, no, guys.
Wow, that's crazy.
I think I saw he crept into the top 10 as the end of the week came in here. So people got their head on straight. So that's good to see. Yeah, definitely a high scoring game. DFS target for sure. Next game here, Bengals Colts. Bengals 27, Colts 31. Bengals got up real big, real early, and then Colts came storming back, and off the arm of Phillip Rivers, nonetheless. We kind of were just discounting Phillip Rivers all season long, and he proved us all wrong today. So, I don't know how good you feel about the Colts offense, though, still, after a game like this.
I mean, not great. I don't think any more of it than I did before.
Right.
I mean, yeah, they did have to throw the ball, but it's not like Rivers was just amazing. I mean, the stats look really good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were watching that game, I mean, I believe every one of his touchdown passes literally was a diving catch, and not because the guy was necessarily always covered, but I definitely still don't trust him at all. Outside of Ty, he doesn't really have a potential elite option to throw the ball to, and
sure
after
Ty
week one
anymore.
there, well, he has I guess he could be, but yeah, with Rivers, he can't. And then Jonathan Taylor, after that first week, he hasn't shown that he's at least for fantasy purposes, like a RB1, like maybe we had hoped he would be. He gets his touches, but he's not typically super efficient. Like today was different because of game script. They were down 21-0 quick, so he only got 12 carries. But week in and week out, I don't know that we can rely on him to be the guy that you would think would get 20 carries a game because they're playing defense and trying to control the ball.
Right. Yeah, I agree there. It's going to be a tough offense to use. I mean, we all want to jump on the JT train there, but it's not really coming to fruition yet. I think he's going to have a big game here and there, but it's going to be kind of bleh most of the way unless he can just kind of tumble in the end zone. But next game here, a lot of points again. Falcons 40, Vikings 23. Julio is back. And he showed up, man. He was ready to play today. 8 for 137, 2 touchdowns on 10 targets. Really had a pretty nice day himself. 61 and a touch. Matt Ryan looked like the Matt Ryan of old, man. 30 for 40, 371, 4 touchdowns. On the other side of the ball, Cousins and that team just looked atrocious. I mean, you're gonna be happy with Cousins at the end of the day if you happen to use him in fantasy because he had a lot of garbage time points, 343, 3 touchdowns, but those 3 picks early just ruined this team. They had no chance. Are we jumping back on the Matt Ryan train though? Now that Julio is back and healthy?
I mean, I never jumped off it, man. I can see why people would for sure. I mean, he had a little rough patch there, but I think that just the game script that team is going to consistently be in is
right.
just good for fantasy purposes, and it's not like he doesn't have targets to throw to. Julio, Ridley, Hurst, even Gage. I mean, he's got weapons. They're probably going to be behind and in high-scoring games. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely think Ryan is 100% in play, probably on about a weekly basis.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would worry about a team that's got a really good pass rush because he's been just under siege most of the season. So I think that would be the one game. Those would be the games I'd worry about. Moving on here, Broncos and Pats. Broncos win 18-12, probably one of the bigger upsets of the day. This game was just awful on both sides, man. Like, there's really no stat line to like here. I guess James White caught 8 passes, so you're happy there if you owned him in a PPR league. Philip Lindsay, 23 carries, 101 yards, looked pretty decent, as the bell cow back there for Denver, but it's a tough matchup for him. You were just going for volume play there if you used him. He was dirt cheap in DFS. So, I mean, is there anything to kind of take out of this game? I mean, we liking anybody from either of these teams moving forward?
I mean, it's hard, man. I think it was week 3. I was pretty heavy on Cam Newton. And he's kind of shit the bed ever since I put a little bit of confidence in him. And then with the Broncos, I guess when everyone's healthy, I do like that offense. So when Fant's out there and Judy's out there, and they got Locke throwing the ball, I think that's pretty solid. Yeah. And as much as I hate having 2 quality backs. With Gordon and with Lindsay, I think when they're both healthy, that definitely helps the passing game. So yeah, I think the Broncos definitely have some upside to them when healthy. But for the Patriots, I don't think you can touch them in any fashion unless you just straight up just have no other option to play.
Yeah, I think if you're using Cam. We saw what he was going to do early on this season. Like, if he's not running and getting in the end zone, like, he's going to struggle, man. Like, he wasn't putting up the passing numbers. It was all on the ground. I mean, what was it? At one point, he was on pace for, like, 36 rushing touchdowns and, like, 8 passing touchdowns. It was something silly like that. Man. I mean, like, that
right.
Clearly wasn't going to happen. So it was just, It was just kind of crazy. So he was kind of hard to trust for me from the beginning. Washington football team and the Giants. Giants 20, WTF 19. They went for it for 2 at the end of the game to try to win. Yep. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Nothing from either side, honestly. I mean, Slayton got in the end zone, but only caught 2 for 41. He happened to get in the end zone. Jones had a lot of rushing yards. I guess there's that. He was like 70-something rushing yards, I think.
Yeah, he had one big run.
Yeah.
I don't remember how far. It had to be at least 40-some yards.
Yeah. I think the good news is that out of this game is everybody was kind of worried about Terry McLaurin, right, coming in and after last week where he was just basically shut out. He got 12 targets, caught 7 for 74. I mean, I think that's really good news for McLaurin owners. I mean, what's your take on that? Like, are we still feeling good about him, or are we still kind of, I don't know.
No, man, I think McLaurin's always, well, not always been. He's so new in the league here, but he's been underrated. I mean, he faced the Rams last week, and he was covered up by Jalen Ramsey, who gives the best receivers in the game a hard time. And even this week, he went up against Bradbury from the Giants, who in his own right has got to be a top 10 cornerback in the league. And I mean, I think the problem with McLaurin is, he doesn't quite have, the highest ceiling just because of the offense and, the quarterback or quarterbacks he's got thrown to him. But his floor is always really nice. I mean, 7 for 74 doesn't stand out, but I mean, depending on your scoring format, you're looking at anywhere from 10 to 15 points. I mean, that's not a bad day. You can get by with that.
Yeah, I mean, I was slightly worried about him, but I guess maybe it was more of Allen got hurt early in that game last week, and obviously, great story with Alex Smith coming in, but he was just checking down and then checking down again, and so clearly McLaurin is not going to get targeted in those. So, yeah, McLaurin seems pretty safe, but I think he does lose a little bit of the ceiling he had with Haskins, because Haskins was just chucking in the ball, and he was going downfield with it more than I think Allen will. They're going to probably play it pretty safe with Allen, because that's kind of what he did in Carolina too. So,
sure.
Next game here, Ravens and Eagles. Ravens got out real big, and I thought it was just going to be just a blowout here, but the Eagles come storming back, and the Ravens win 30-28. Lamar, 16 for 27, still not super efficient. You would like to see that get up there. 186 yards passing, not great again. I got a touchdown. He saved you with his legs. 9 for 106 and a touch. Had that one big run up the middle where he just took off. It was like 50-something yards. So, that's what you want to really see from him, especially where you drafted him in leagues. But, we were hoping to get more than 16 for 27 out of him, and $186. Mark Ingram got knocked out pretty early in this game. Gus Edwards took over for the most part, 14 for 26, so nothing great there. Hollywood, just another, up and down game from Hollywood. We got the down this week, so whatever. Wentz, made it work. Wasn't pretty. This defense was swarming around pretty good. 21 for 40, 213, 2 touchdowns. Had to come back late there, so it looked good. Sanders also hurt in this game. They're talking about a knee injury. I haven't seen the update, but I'm hoping it's nothing serious here, because, man, he had a monster game. 9 rushes for 118 yards, 74-yard run that was massive, and that's the one he got hurt on. So just hoping everything's good there for him. And then Travis Fulgham. The talk of the town last week, man. 6 for 75 and a touch. 10 targets. Caught one late, but hey, it all counts on the fantasy stat sheet. This guy's gonna still be dirt cheap at DFS next week. Is he a must play?
Honestly, part of it is going to depend on the matchup, but I guess until Goddard comes back, there's targets to be had.
He's had 2 tough matchups in a row and done very well. Pittsburgh and then Ravens. So, what are we talking about here? Matchup with him?
Yeah,
let's be real.
You make a very fair point. I guess it doesn't get much tougher of a matchup than those two. So yeah, I guess that I changed my answer to just simply, I guess we'll see what happens when Goddard comes back. But I guess you're right. I think
Ertz got banged up in this one too. So
Ertz isn't right either, man.
Ertz didn't look right, but he came up limping in one. He doesn't look right. So. I don't know. I'm kind of mad at myself because I wrote an article. I got asked a question for Fantasy Pros and their DFS thing this week, and I said my bargain play was Fulgum, and I was like, why not? He's like 4,300, dirt cheap. He's at worst he gives you 6 points and you've paid nothing for it. Who cares? And, at best he comes out and repeats what he did last week, and that's what he did. And so I'm mad at myself for not playing him. So I talked myself out of it.
Yeah,
I was it's the
tough,
Ravens.
Man. Yep.
Early on it was looking like a great call, and then just yeah, whatever. Browns Steelers rolled on this one, man. 38-7. The Cleveland Browns did not look good this game. Baker, he came in banged up anyway, so and it looked like he got even more hurt in this game. 10 for 18,
absolutely.
119, touching 2 interceptions, not good. Hunt didn't do anything, man. Hooper did okay, I guess, if you had to use him, 5 for 52, so, double digit in PPR, so you're probably pretty happy there. Big Ben, despite a huge score, didn't really do much, 162 and a touchdown. Connor did a lot of the work, 100 and a touchdown. Claypool, 4 for 74, and I believe, did he run in one again?
Yes, he did.
End zone. Yeah,
yep.
so
he absolutely did. Yep.
So the touchdowns, and I think they had a pick six.
They had a pick
too.
6. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it was just the points came from all the rushing and everything else. So Ben didn't have to do anything. Stinks for me. I played Ben over Tannehill in one league, thinking,
oh boy.
Yeah, it was a tough call. It was like a coin flip. I just picked Ben because I don't know. Obviously, bad call. Hindsight, whatever, right? What do we take away from this game with the Browns, though? Obviously the Steelers, we like them, but the Browns, they were coming in hot. Obviously a big step back here. Is it just a stumble block, or we worried here with them?
I am definitely worried. Obviously they're missing Chubb, and that doesn't help by any stretch of the imagination. But I feel like this is kind of normal that, they are very up and down, and, as much talent as they have on offense, it seems as though they all have to be healthy for it to work. And when anyone just isn't quite right, it just affects everything. It's a really weird because they've got such a great collection of talent.
They do.
And yet it just doesn't seem it doesn't work consistently, that's for sure.
I think they've almost got too many
weird
personalities, man. OBJ and Baker, and, Landry's not too bad. He seems like he's pretty level-headed for the most part, as level-headed as a wide receiver can get. And then,
right.
You add in they've just there's a lot of personalities, man, on that team, and I just feel like it clashes. Sometimes you just got to have you can deal with one, but the whole offense being kind of like that, it just seems to spell trouble more often than not. So I wonder if there's a lot to play with that. Bears, Panthers, Bears 23, Panthers 16. Nothing super pretty on the stat sheet here. Nobody really stands out. Montgomery, 19 for 58. I think he stumbled in the end zone too. Caught 4 for 39. Nothing really going on the Panthers side. Davis saved his day by a touchdown. A lot of targets, but again, not really making anything of them. We saw last week where he had the big catch and run, but this week he didn't get it, and he didn't get in the end zone. So, Mike Davis here, I want to ask you about him because, we're hearing rumors that CMC is going to be back next week. What do you think they do with Davis? He's proved that he is capable of handling this offense. Obviously, they're going to play CMC, but do you think they kind of mix and match him here, or is it just straight back to CMC?
I think it's going to be, I think they're going to ease him in. So, I think Davis will retain a slim, value until, CMC is, probably maybe 2 games in and is just, got his conditioning back up and, is fully healthy and ready to go. And then I think Davis probably carves out just slightly more of a role than before. You might see,
he had 0 before, so
that's
not hard to do.
Right, but I'm saying, I would be shocked to see him get. I'd be shocked in 2, 3, 4 weeks after CMC's back. I'd be shocked if he had 10 touches. I could see him being a 5-6 touch guy, but he's nobody that you could play or rely on.
No, he's gonna be hard to use when CMC is back for sure. Next game, Lions and Jags. Lions 34, Jags 16. Lions win. They didn't blow the game.
Yeah, go figure.
I know, right? Lions side, we saw Galladay get over 100 yards. That's nice to see. Would have liked to see him get in the end zone. Big story to them. Deandre Swift, the coming out party, 14 rushes, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, caught 3 for 7 yards, so not great there, but you like to see him getting involved in the passing game. On the Jags side, I mean, just kind of ho-hum, nothing really great. Robinson, thankfully caught a passing a reception and got in the end zone there. Keelan Cole was the big, 6 for 143 yards, but, nothing too great over there. Probably not a whole lot of people that use Keelan Cole anywhere, DFS or season long at all. But the big story here, like I said, DeAndre Swift, I mean, it's time, right? Like they after watching this, you can't possibly go back to AP, full load, right?
Well, I know that AP was having some issues health-wise. For life of me, I can't remember what it was. But,
well, they took him. They got blood work done. They were checking for appendix stuff and things like that. I know that, but they never came out and actually said what it was. They just said everything came back negative. So, I mean, hopefully that's good news, but we'll see.
I mean, if I had to take a guess, I would say Swift does not lead them in carries next week. That's just it. I know it doesn't make any sense, but I'm telling you, as a Lions fan, that's probably what will happen. Swift will kind of fall back into close to the role that he had a couple weeks ago, assuming that everybody's healthy. But, I would be surprised if he does what he should do next week and then, lead that team, in at least, snaps, if not, touches.
Yeah, I hope they go to Swift, man. He's clearly super talented. You just see it. I mean, I know the Jags really aren't anything great, but, man, he is incredible. Jets and Dolphins, whoo, boy, if this one doesn't get Adam Gase fired, I don't know what does. This was an atrocious game, man. They finally let Bell go, and it was well, now we're free. We could do what we want to do, and you got smoked 24-0 by the Dolphins. Come on. It was so bad. There's literally nothing that's good to say about the Jets except that Crowder saw 8 targets and caught 7 of them. That's it, guys. Yeah. There's nothing.
Hooray.
Fitzpatrick, not a lot of yards, threw 3 touchdowns, did throw 2 picks. That's Fitzpatrick, though. Parker only got 3 for 35, which really shocked me. 8 targets. It just wasn't – it was weird. Gaskin, 91 yards. So, he's proving a lot of people wrong. Everybody was on the Breida or Jordan Howard, and then Gaskin comes in and just steals the show. It's kind of crazy. I mean – I don't know what to do here. I kind of wonder, with the Dolphins, I know you have your question here that you wrote down, but I'm going to ask something slightly different. I mean, the Dolphins are winning games, right? And everybody kind of thought Tua is going to take over eventually. And I know we saw Tua today, but it obviously was garbage time. You just handed the ball off a lot. If the Dolphins keep winning games, they're not turning this over to Tua, right? I mean,
not barring injury. No, I mean, why would you? I mean, listen, I love Tua. I prayed that the Lions were going to take him at 3rd overall. Right. But yeah, I mean, Fitzmagic is Fitzmagic, man. He's a veteran NFL quarterback. He was going to play either until Tua was ready or until the season was over, whichever, I guess when both of those, collided.
And honestly, he makes these receivers good for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an NFL quarterback. I mean, he's not gonna, he'll win you some games, he'll lose you some games. But I mean, he's a good quarterback. He usually is a decent, fantasy option just because he's not afraid to throw the ball around. And, obviously sometimes that burns you. But at least this year he's been one of the better, week in and week out, quarterbacks. Honestly, I mean, he's getting plenty of points.
Yeah, we do have a couple. We have Charles Rutley Jr. chatting us with on YouTube right now, and he says, "Should I trade Derrick Henry and Patrick Mahomes in PPR for Kamara and Russ?" Oh, that's close, man. I'm gonna go with no. Because I want Mahomes, I feel like. I mean, Kamara and Henry are interchangeable. I mean, Russ probably has more points right now because he had that, on fire start where he threw 5 touchdown passes every week. But I'm going to go with a no on that one. But that's close. I mean, that's a juggernaut trade right there. I mean, I wouldn't fault you for doing it, but I prefer the Henry and Mahomes side, especially after today. Wow.
Right.
So let's see here. Last game on the docket, Packers and Bucks. This was supposed to be like the great game of the day. It was basically by itself in the late afternoon. I mean, the Jets and Dolphins, I mean, nobody was watching that really, right? But Packers and Bucks were the only game on. And it wasn't good. It wasn't even close. Packers got out big, got up early quick, and then the Bucks just took over. And Aaron Rodgers looked like garbage. 160, 2 interceptions, 16 for 35. And this is with Devontae Adams back, too. Aaron Jones, 15 yards and a touchdown. That's it. Adams, 6 for 61. It just wasn't clicking for them. And, I mean, this was the Rojo show, man. Like, Rojo and Gronk, I mean, they made it happen. Rojo, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gronk caught 5 for 78 and a touch. I mean, I don't even know where to start here. Like, how much stock are we putting into this game about with Aaron Rodgers? Are we thinking, oh, no, like, this is going to be, the start of, like, back to last year where Rodgers isn't looking good a whole lot of weeks? He didn't look this bad last year, but he wasn't putting up the fantasy stats people were hoping. Or are we more looking at this Bucs offense is really starting to click, and Gronk is looking good, and, Rojo can do this. Like, man, think of what's going to happen when Evans and Godwin really start firing on all cylinders with Brady.
I think it was.
You go ahead.
I think it was more the Bucs defense today. They looked really good. Yeah. That pick six that Rodgers threw wasn't terrible. It wasn't. Well, obviously, it wasn't great, but it wasn't a terrible pass. It's not like he made some crazy mistake. But they were bottling up the run game. They looked good, and I think to your point, like you said, once Evans and Godwin get healthy, and then I guess I don't know exactly what Fournette's role is going to be with how good Jones is looking, but man, you get him healthy too, and now you pair that defense and that offense together, and I don't know how that helped you for fantasy purposes. It could make it very tricky. It seems like with as many weapons as they have on this team, it still is kind of a New England style. You don't know what you're going to get any given week, but yeah, man, that defense is what came to play today. I know they put up 38 points, but they kept getting the ball in pretty good field position from that defense.
Yeah, absolutely. The defense was just all in on Aaron Rodgers. And sorry, I'm changing my power cord here. I just somehow my other charger wasn't charging my computer, and it almost died on me. So that could have been bad here at the very end. But we are done. Rams and 49ers are midway through the third quarter, and I'm trying to check the score here. Of course, we're looking at the commentators, so no score right now, but it 21-9. Is 21-9 49ers. Kind of a shocker after the 49ers kind of fell flat last week. But still a lot of game left, 10-23. So Kittle's had a big first half. Woods has been pretty good. So hopefully we get some more points out of this game because I need it pretty bad. So, all right, that's all we've got. Hope you guys had a good week. And if you need some more points out of this on Monday night, good luck to you. And check you all next week.
Peace.